Hello, and welcome to Inspiring into Action, a vlog and podcast that is here to influence, train, and encourage you to take action in your business. The stories that are shared on this vlog are to provoke you to take action today. Make sure you follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Inspiring into Action. Hello, and welcome to Inspiring into Action. I'm your host, Tara Omatosho. And today I am interviewing Loina Rogers. She is the owner of the Excellent Breakfast Company, and she's going to tell us about who she is and more about her company. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Tara. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you having me and being able to talk to your audience. I am the founder and owner of the Excellent Breakfast Company. I go by the hashtag Breakfast Mom and Nutrition Detective. And just a little bit about me and what I do. First of all, you have to know that my breakfast company is not what you think of when you first think of a breakfast company. When you first, say, oh, the Excellent Breakfast Company, yay, I'm ready to eat breakfast. Actually, we have transitioned from that more, traditional form of being a breakfast company in that I found a very specific niche with parents in knowing that and learning that they didn't have the basic information in terms of what it takes to create a balanced, more nutritious, nutrient dense breakfast for their child. And then to take it one step further, I was able to learn that based on what you feed your child, because food is medicine, which is one of my core beliefs and my philosophy in building this company, is that when you fill in and when you feed your child specific foods, it actually supports academic learning. It actually affects the way they act in the classroom. It affects their mood. It affects their ability to be able to behave or act in a certain manner, depending on the social setting, the environment, the experience that they're going through. So I am, like I said, the founder and owner of the Excellent Breakfast Company. I started this company actually in 2017 officially, but my journey actually began in 2012. It began because I have two sons. My oldest is 8 and I have a 4-year-old. My oldest son, Wesley, was born in 2011. And he was, after he was 13 months old, actually at 6 months, I tried to introduce new foods. I tried to introduce actually Enfamil. I was nursing. And then I tried to introduce Enfamil. And then one day we were at the park and he threw up and it was like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, all I did was give him like 3 ounces of Enfamil. And so asthma allergies do not run in my family. No one has ever had that. And so for me, it was like, I couldn't, I was like, I didn't know what to do. And so I called his pediatrician, and then on the way home, he threw up in the car everywhere. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, how am I going to get home if this baby's throwing up everywhere? I'm closer to the pediatrician's office than I am my home. So I'm like, okay, I pull over, I try to, settle him. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I don't get it, right? So the pediatrician, he says, oh, what did you give him? Whatever you gave him, it upset his stomach. So, just try not to give him any more of that. Just try to nurse him. And I did what they said. And even with just nursing him, he was still throwing up. So I was like, what the heck, right? So I'm a mom, first-time mom, 6-month-old baby, dealing with and trying to understand why my child is throwing up. I have no knowledge of food allergies. I have no knowledge of what happens when someone has an allergic reaction to something. So for me, it was a scary experience. It was hard to be, it was hard for a mom to not know what to do, right? Because we all want our children to feel, comfortable at all times, We don't want them to have any pain. And so for me, it was like, okay, let me take him to the pediatrician. He's going to give me some medicine and everything's going to be fine. Well,
Right.
that's not how it happened, right? We were up all night. He could barely keep like anything on his stomach,
Gosh.
and all from 3 ounces of Enfamil.
Mm.
And so this went on for about, I mean, he had the outbreaks, he started to break out, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? You know, what do I do? And there was even an instance where, you know, once the doctor said, okay, he has food allergies, you know, you shouldn't give him, you know, this. But when the child is 6 months old, when they're less than a year old, there's nothing they really can do in terms of testing besides blood tests. So he was like, he said, I don't want to do the scratch test because the scratch test is going to be very uncomfortable for him at such a young age. And at this age, they're so young, pretty much they're going to be allergic to everything. Everything is going to come out positive because their body is still growing. It's still, you know, adapting to, you know, the outside world. And so he was like, we really don't do testing, even a blood test, until they're at least a year. And so I was like, what am I going to do? So keep in mind, from 6 months to 13 months old, I'm just like trying to figure it out. I'm going to the emergency room. I'm spending money. I'm like, you know, buying this over-the-counter medication. Nothing is working. And then when they finally did, so at 13 months old, I requested the blood test. They did the blood test. And then it was, okay, these are the things he's low, medium, and high allergic to.
Okay.
I said, okay, so I'm going to follow this list to the T. I'm not going to feed him things on the high list. They said the things on the medium list, he will most likely grow out of.
Okay.
And then the things on the low list, he should be fine. So I'm like, okay. So I take it back to the pediatrician. His advice is, I know you did the blood test, but that's not even accurate. He was like, because the true test is actually when you feed the child. He was like, nothing is 100%. He was like, so you know, your knowledge of it is going to be even better than a blood test, because whatever you feed him, he's going to have a reaction. Then you will know, okay, I can't give this to him.
Yeah.
So so then I go and I'm following all these guidelines, you know, I'm going to follow the doctor's orders.
Right.
And then we go along, and then, you know, I had one particular instance where, you know, his dad had him, and I come to pick him up, and he is discolored. He's red, blotchy, like all over the face. Like his face is like covered, like in a red geographic type of mark. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is a Sunday evening. He has to go back to daycare the Monday. And his dad tells me, oh, he's fine. There's nothing. I'm like, are you kidding me? I didn't drop him off to you like this. So what do you mean everything is fine? No. I said, I can't take him today. They will not accept him.
Yeah, because
looking like this
or something.
Yes. So I take him to the emergency room. His dad's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. You're blowing things out of proportion. He's not crying. He's not. I'm like, but I can't take him to daycare, right? So, you know, moms, we're like freaking out. I need an answer. So I take him to the emergency room. They give him prednisolone. They give him Benadryl. They give him all this medication. And they say, okay, give it an hour. And, you know, then take him in to see his pediatrician tomorrow. Meanwhile, I have to go to work tomorrow. And all of this happens when I have just started a new job. I am in 60 days of probation. In which training, and I have to I cannot miss a day.
Right.
And then, so then I have to call the nanny, and I'm like, listen, I need you to take him into the pediatrician, right? I'm up all night at the emergency room. Then I'm like, okay, I need you to take him to the doctor. This is what the pediatrician said. This is what the emergency room said. Can you try to, you know, get some answers? So that happens, and I follow the list of foods, low, medium to low, that he supposedly can eat. And then he's still having the outbreaks, you know, nothing is working. Anything that they would normally feed him at a daycare, it's, you know, he's allergic to. So it was frustrating. It it was frustrating. It was like, I have to get some answers. And I quite frankly did not know where to turn. I didn't have any friends that had, these kinds of issues. And a friend of mine told me, he said, what you should do is, there's a doctor that actually does something called nutritional muscle testing.
Mm.
What happens is, they can take specific allergens, they can take specific foods, put it up against your body, and it's an energy field.
Yes.
If your body needs it, it's going to, let them know, okay, you will not be able to hold your arm up. If your body is sufficient in it, you don't need it, then you will be strong when it's in your energy field. But if you're weak in that particular vitamin or supplement, then you will not be able to hold up your arm. It's just that simple.
Yes.
And so I began to learn from a doctor in Chicago, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And she began to explain to me that she used to make pharmaceutical drugs. And she said, she said it was crazy for me, because she said, I knew that the medicines that I was making were not going to help the patients. She said, and then for me, it was like, I have to, there has to be more than life than this, to this. There has to be more to life than this.
Yes.
There has to be another way I can help.
Yes.
She said, so then that's when I started to understand and do more research. And then she, started taking other courses, and she started to learn about how the body is not made to process chemicals. Our body has to work harder, right? So she was explaining to me why is it that when I'm feeding him certain foods, his body responds in a specific way. Why when I give him, the Allegra, why when I give him the Benadryl, what happens to his body? What's happening to his liver, his kidneys, right? What am I doing to his brain cells long term, right? And we know our children, their brain cells are still growing, right? And so we are supposed to be supporting and strengthening and nourishing their brain cells, their heart. We're supposed to strengthen and nourish these parts of the body. But when we're giving the chemicals, the body doesn't know what to do with chemicals. So as she began to explain these things to me, she introduced me to a new supplement that was made from all food sources. And on the back of it, it reads food sources, that we can identify.
That we can pronounce.
That we can pronounce, that we can identify, right? And it's amazing, in homeopathy, the belief is like cures like, right? So you can take some of the same things, if you have an adrenal issue, if you're not able to handle your stress, then, you can take that certain part of of a bovine, it's a buffalo that, you can't feed a bison anything. His diet has to be extremely nutritious, right? So the parts of an animal that we normally would not eat are extremely nutritious, like the spleen, the pancreas, right? So we have issues when you take small parts of that in homeopathy. The belief is that, you can actually heal your body back to its optimal state, whereby the body can actually function and operate and heal itself.
Wow.
So in learning all of that, I began to learn that, there were no more natural ways to heal my son's body, with, strengthening his body, strengthening his immune system, strengthening his digestive system. And one of the things I really, really talk about a lot is, us humans, we have a second brain. A lot of times as mom, we're not familiar with that. We don't know that when our child, they have a tummy ache, the body is talking to you. So I teach parents how to understand the signs and how to speak the language, so that when the body is talking to you, or when your child says they have a certain issue, you can recognize the sign, and then you know what's missing. So the body is asking you for a specific nutrient, and you know what to put in there, and not something that's a chemical.
Wow. You take this information, all this information that you got from the muscle testing, because I'm familiar with that too. I mean, I'll share with you my story. It sounds like yours. And I was like, man, it would have been great to have found a mother at that time that resonated with me when I was going through the same thing. I did the whole muscle testing for my children and everything. And now looking back, I had done what the homeopathic doctor said at that time. we might have seen different results. I mean, everything's great,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
you're right. Their stomachs is their gut is like a second brain. And so when your gut or something like you said is going on with your body, it's so important for us to recognize it and address it. And I just postponed it. So did you take the information and you turn it into a career, or you turn it into a business? How did all this, from just that incident with, well, the incidents over time, the incidents with your son, is that how this started? And what is this? Do you consult with people? Tell us more exactly what it is that you how you work with moms or parents.
Yes. So basically, like I said, my journey started in 2012, but the business wasn't officially formed until 2017. So
Yeah.
yes, all those years of because I still am located in Burbank, California.
Yeah.
I had to find a homeopathic doctor here in Burbank that actually offered the product that
Yeah.
the homeopathic doctor in Chicago sold. So I had to do some research. Then I began to read up on the different ingredients
Mm.
in the supplement that she recommended. I began to research the company. I began to, find out and read more on why, organic is better than non-organic. Why what's the difference in GMO and non-GMO? What's the difference, right? It has a different effect on a child's brain and our brain. And so from all of that, um, I was like, it's amazing how, number one, a lot more cesarean sections are performed nowadays. Both of my sons were born via cesarean section.
Yes.
A lot of parents don't know. I didn't know that if your child is born via cesarean section, they don't get the shower of antibodies that's supposed to cover their body when
Yeah.
they're born.
Yes.
So with that, I said, oh my gosh, this is an opportunity for me to educate parents to really heal their child's digestive system, because they are not getting the, this is how it was, meant to be. They were supposed to get the strong shower of antibodies to cover their body to protect their immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of my sons got that. They didn't receive that. So that means we have to be even more vigilant about protecting our child's digestive system. Now they're kind of starting a few steps back as it relates to digestive health. So their microbiome, the healthy organisms that are in their digestive system, is not where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And then the moment they have an ear infection, the sinus infection, they put them on antibiotics. And then as soon as they give them an antibiotic, because we're frantic because they're crying, they're in pain, right? So it's like, okay, now what do we do? So now that I know all of this information, I am trying to pass it along to parents virtually. You asked, how do I do this? So I am a self-study. Number one, I am a self-study from my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I have taken all of my experience with additional research, additional mentorship that I've done with cardiologists, with brain surgeons. And I take all of this information, and when you have a puzzle, like with a lot of different pieces, and then all of the pieces start to come together,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes sense. And just like any other mom, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is just, a lot of hooey.
Right.
Maybe, because I've tried it,
Yeah.
and then I've gotten off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to it and I saw, oh, wow, his nose is not running.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. He's not getting as sick. This must be working.
Yeah.
And I noticed, if you strengthen the body, like when I kept his body strengthened with the essential vitamins, minerals, nutrients, essential fatty acids, and even with a male child versus a female child, there are specific nutrients that they must have.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you put these in at the start of the day, it makes a total difference.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when I began to notice that, I'm like, wow. And the more moms that I talk to, my consultations that I do one-on-one, and then I have my courses. And so with the one-on-one consultations, that's where I, have the parent fill out an assessment where I take a list of like what your child is eating, what
Mm,
they love, what they crave, what they
mhm,
have an aversion to. Do
mhm,
you currently give them whole food supplements? Do you currently give them any type of nutritional supplementation? Because that speaks back to the crops
yeah,
that we get. I mean, the soil isn't as nutrient dense as it used to be. So,
yes.
with that in mind, how are you filling in the nutritional gaps?
Mhm,
A lot of parents with breakfast, they may not understand why their child, may be more open and always craving and wanting more and more sweet things.
mhm.
I teach them how to reintroduce and retrain the palate to desire more healthy foods.
That's
There is
awesome.
a way to do that. A lot of times, we think, oh, I'll just give them this or that. It's not that simple. That's a mineral deficiency. And if
Mm,
you don't fill in that mineral deficiency, yes, you're going to hit a brick wall every time you try to feed your child something that their eyes, because we eat with our eyes, we eat with our nose, our mouth, and our ears. So
mm,
all of that makes a difference. So I
senses.
teach the parent how to understand which foods are okay to introduce, how you introduce them. But before you can even introduce a new food, you have to put in the mineral that actually supports the taste, the palate, the
Mhm,
appetite.
mm,
Our human nature is to eat. If you don't have an appetite to eat, if you don't have a desire to eat, the
right.
body is asking for a specific nutrient that
Mm,
supports your appetite. So when we try to force certain foods on our child and that nutrient isn't in place, you're going
yes.
to hit a brick wall every time.
Mm,
Same thing, like, it applies to adults as well. You may go to the doctor, you may have surgery, but
mhm,
guess what? The doctor's going to give you medication for pain. It's going to
yeah,
give you medication for inflammation. But
yeah.
guess what? Those are not the essential nutrients your body needs to repair itself.
Mm,
They will medicate you for the surgery. They're not medicating you for health.
wow.
So it's your responsibility. It's our responsibility as moms to nourish the body so that it can heal itself. Our bodies are wonderful specimens that can heal itself, but you have to give it the right nutrients to do so.
Yeah, you're right. Our body, I mean, I'm thinking of all these things as you're talking, like, wow, this is so awesome. But at the same time, as moms, we put so much pressure on ourselves, and it's
Hmm.
like, man, I need to do this, or you need to do that, and sometimes it's easy just to say, hey, go ahead and do that because I have so many things to do. And the cesarean section point that you brought up was really big because I've had four of them. All my children have been born
Mm.
a cesarean section, and one of my children was diagnosed with Crohn's a couple of years ago.
Mm.
And I'm like, how
Mm.
does this happen? But like I said earlier, as you're talking, I'm looking back on my child. It's my first son too, and so
Hmm.
all the things that he had the earache, we had the antibiotic, but we didn't
Yep.
follow that up with probiotics. All these things that we could have been doing in order to
Yep.
get that out of his system, and also just the lactose intolerance that we have in our family. Just different
Hmm.
we should not be indulging in, but then we find out, oh, someone has a rash on their leg because you have to really point out what that is. Eczema is from eating these type of foods. And I think sometimes we just don't realize, or we just go through the motions of day to day and don't realize the impact that the food that we're eating is making on our bodies. We think
That's
that
right.
we're eating, oh, I'm eating, this is healthy, but that could be the same thing that is really deteriorating your body.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, because of the way um, our the bigger companies, they market to us, they market it as healthy.
Yeah.
However, things start off good, so in its natural state it is healthy.
Yeah.
However, when you process it and take it out of its natural form, then you are altering the chemicals, you're altering the nutrients, you're altering the nourishment that is supposed to help the body. For example, it's interesting. I say this often, and in all of my lives, I tell people, start with, if you need a place to start with sugar, and start with vegetable oils. When you fry something in vegetable oil, canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, you are actually doing a chemical change of what that was supposed to be. So every nutrient that was in there, it changes it. It's no longer protein. You're actually injecting into your body. You're feeding your body. You're feeding your cells. I mean, it's free radicals. It's free radicals, and free radicals are cancer.
Yes.
And so it even took me a minute, like for me, because I'm so, meticulous about, okay, wait, why is this and why is that, right? So it takes that understanding of, they tell you shouldn't eat fried food. But why shouldn't you eat fried foods, right? So when you understand that you're not eating fried food, you're not eating fried chicken, you're not eating fried fish, you are actually eating
a cigarette.
Poison to your body. Food can either be it can either harm or heal your body. And so when we change what it is and what, it definitely changes the chemical, the molecular structure, the compounds of what it was supposed to be. We're altering it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, when you think about those things, and it makes you make different choices.
Absolutely. My brain, I can't even go to, oh God, my brain is like, it's really hard to know something. It's hard to unknow. When
and once you know, you have to do something with that knowledge. You have to.
Oh my gosh. And then when you see a change in your child, because my 4-year-old, I still have those meltdowns. I still have those temper tantrums, right? And I know, okay, what is his body telling me? Because what we think is, okay, I already took my multivitamin yesterday. It's okay if I skip it today. But guess what? Throughout the day, as we go through our day, your body, every time you stub your toe, every time you walk into something that you had no intention on walking into, your brain, your body, your digestive system has to respond. The response system are your hormones. Your hormones have to, as your hormones respond, it is using up the nutrients that you consume from your food. So by the end of the day, right. So so by the end of the day, you have depleted. You are using all that up. So the next day, you have to replenish and put it back in what you used from yesterday. If you don't, then the body is going to try to use what you gave it. If you gave it free radicals, it's going to try and use, and it's going to work harder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To try to use what it can only use what you put in. And so with that, I am trying to help parents start them young, right? Let's try to build a better, because when you heal the digestive system, which is what we call the second brain, the microbiome, when you heal that, we have more nerve endings that go from our digestive system to our brain. So that's why you can lose your appetite if you're scared.
So Louina, could you tell the audience on where they can find you?
Yes, so I am on Instagram and Facebook. Sometimes I'm on Periscope, but mostly you can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Excellent Breakfast Co. So, or you can look up my name, Louina Rogers, or if you hashtag Breakfast Mom, you will find all of my posts. And then it'll link you back to Louina Rogers, and then you'll find my business page. But it's the Excellent. So of course the Excellent is spelled like the egg we eat for breakfast. And it just speaks to, creating the next generation of excellent children by feeding them breakfast.
Mm.
So it's Excellent Breakfast Co. Without the word the. So without the. But it's Excellent Breakfast Co. That's my user handle, Instagram handle, as well as Facebook, on both of those platforms. I'm on Twitter as well, but not as active on as I am on Facebook and Instagram.
Gotcha. So tell the audience about some of the events you have coming up soon, maybe in the next couple months, that they might be able to either attend, or if you have anything coming up in your business, could you share some more information about that?
Yes, yes. So we have a breakfast expo that's coming up. I'm quite excited about that. This allows us, when I was talking earlier and I was saying that how my breakfast company is a bit unorthodox and not the typical breakfast company that you would expect in just, talking by to get you a sandwich. We are doing a virtual breakfast expo. And what this does is it allows us to actually reach more moms nationwide. And we ask all of our followers to share, because this allows us to actually get the information out to more moms who I ordinarily would not have access to. And
Mhm.
so it's September 2nd through the 6th. So it's going to be an entire week, starting with the Labor Day. Is it Labor Day or Memorial Day we're coming up on? I get
Labor
so
Day,
confused.
yeah, Labor Day.
Labor Day. Okay. So Labor Day. So the Labor Day holiday from 10 to 3 will be virtual. And our early bird special just went off yesterday for $39. But if you mention me in this video, I will give you the early bird special for the
Uh,
$39. But starting today, actually, our fee did go up. Our registration fee is $59.
okay.
And to get access to register for that for that expo is bit.ly
Mhm.
/expo attendee.
Okay.
bit.ly /expo attendee. And the $39, if you get the early bird special, or if you get the $59, if you end up registering at the $59 level, it gets you 5 days of nutritional deficiency information, recipes, breakfast hacks, different tips and strategies and tools for moms, because I really believe that a part of taking our care of our children
Mhm.
also involves and requires us taking care of ourselves as moms.
Yeah.
So there will be vendors there who will have wonderful products for moms as well. We have other companies that will be doing, they may do some demoing for recipes and things like that.
Okay.
But from my side, it's really helping the parent understand how to fill in the nutritional gaps and what foods are actually going to heal the body, what nutrients, what supplements. Also, another place I forgot to mention, they can find me, is through my Amazon store. So I do have an Excellent Approved Amazon store. This helps parents, if they don't want to sit down with a one-on-one consultation just yet, and they already have, whole food supplements that they use, they
Mhm.
can always go to my Amazon store and they can see the whole food supplements that I recommend, the multivitamins that I recommend,
Yeah.
the herbal, what takes care of immune system, digestive health. So I have different lists that
Okay.
covers different supplements, vitamins, minerals that I recommend and that I would use or I have used for my family.
That's awesome. I love the idea of something virtual, because then, people from all over can access it, and we're still able to get the same knowledge as if we were right there in your living room. So that's awesome.
Yes, yes. And I also for World Sight Day, that week, I'm actually going to do a master class because we are in the information age,
Yes.
and our children are so connected to, mine included, are
Yes.
connected to being on our mobile devices all the time. And
Mhm.
so one monumental life-changing experience for me was that I was able to reverse my eyesight back to 2020. And I
Mhm.
did that with herbs and whole food sources. And so I am teaching a master class on this.
Wow.
I think it's going to be, excuse me, October 14th through the 15th. And so
Okay.
that will be on my new website, I'm currently having built. And so that will be available as well. And so it's teaching parents what foods you can feed the child and what herbs help the child to heal. Gosh, I need water. What what herbs actually heal our eyesight and
Wow.
help to reverse like macular degeneration, heal the retina in the eye,
Mm,
and how you can really understand how to heal that and strengthen that,
yeah.
to support it so that it can actually do its job.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I can't wait to hear that about the information to in October. I mean, I'm sure I will be sharing this information. I'll also make sure I put the link about the virtual conference. But it's just so much information and we need to equip ourselves, because what if we just continue, like we said earlier, if we continue to go on in ignorance, it's not going to get better. It's going to get even worse.
Right.
It's going to get even worse.
Hmm.
So in regards to your business and starting it, how have you, what are some pitfalls or some problems that you ran into? Because this is all about helping women and inspiring women to take action in their business. So what are some problems or mistakes that you made? Maybe beginning, maybe now, that you can speak to and help the listeners to know, like, how they can avoid making the same mistakes in their business when they are ready to launch or they want to do something like you.
I would say definitely, first of all, a lot of patience with yourself.
Mm,
Um, when you are a mompreneur, when you are a an entrepreneur, really having a lot of patience with yourself,
mm,
because you need patience to be able to understand that you are going to make mistakes and it's okay. Um, and every mistake you make is such an opportunity to learn and to do something different the next time around.
yes.
And it's, I mean, everything while I was going through my mistakes, I would say, I didn't enjoy them. However, now that I look back on them, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this, because I've taken the mentorship classes, taken the different courses where, learning how to run social media, learning how to, I've looked at what other people are doing, and
Mhm.
then that exhausted me, that wasn't for me. So
Yeah.
you have to have patience.
Hmm.
You have to carve your own way to do this that fits into your schedule.
Mm,
So just because we decide that we want to run a business, life beyond the screen continues. So there
yeah.
is a life
Yeah.
beyond the screen. So you
Yeah.
not only have to have patience with yourself, but you also have to learn patience with your audience.
Mm,
Um, you also have to understand and be ready and passionate about what you decide to do,
yes.
because there will be a lot of times when people will not respond to the things you send out.
Right.
And this is a perfect example. If I would have given up,
Hmm.
if I would have given up, I get a lot of messages in my inbox that say, you know, um, I've been watching you and I really want to sign up for a consultation. And
Hmm.
so one of the things that I learned from my mentors was you have to be committed to your message. You have to understand your message and be ready to tell that message over and over and over,
Yes.
because there is a system to how we build what's called the know, like, and trust factor. People
Hmm.
have to see you a certain number of times before
Yes.
they will engage with you.
Yes.
Then they have to see you another specific number of times before they will actually buy with you.
Yes.
So you have to be committed to your passion. You have
Hmm.
to be committed and patient with your audience, because again, we go to Target, we go for one thing, but we come out with five,
Yes.
right?
Right.
So a lot of times we may not know that we need that item until we are at our point of pain.
Right.
So your audience, your target audience, they may not be there yet. But
Right.
oh, when the day comes that they
Right.
are there, they've
Right.
already seen you and they're like, oh, I need to find her.
Yes. That's right. That's how it happens. That's how it happens.
Yes, yes. People don't move unless they are in pain.
Yeah, pain
And
or pleasure. I say people are moved by the pain of yesterday or the pleasure of a better day. The pain that's
yes,
currently affecting them right now, or the pleasure. They may see the pleasure in whatever you're doing, whatever you're advertising,
yes,
and they see how it's
that's
going to
correct.
make their life easier, and so therefore
Yes,
they go in and do it. But if If they're not in pain and pleasure, then they're not looking for you right now. And it's
Exactly,
okay.
exactly.
It's okay.
Yep. And look, and that's the reason you need to have the patience with yourself and really be committed to your mission and your philosophy, and don't waver to the left or the right.
Yes.
Depending on what you see your competition doing, because your message is the one that will speak to your audience. They
Yes.
will recognize words you say. They will recognize the emotion. They will recognize your pitfalls as something that they don't want to encounter, or they're like, oh, I can try that.
Yes.
So when they recognize, when they see that, okay, she's like me, she's experienced the same thing. She gets it. They want to know that you get it, right? People
Right.
buy from people they like. So if
Yes.
they know that you get their pain and you're on the other side and you're like, oh, there's an answer, and
Right.
they're like, okay,
Exactly.
so this is not so bad.
Yes.
So when you find that common ground with your audience and they recognize and understand that you can help them through it, um, they will they will come and find you.
That's great advice. I mean, I think you summed up a lot of the things in one answer, but that's great because, you definitely do have to be patient with yourself, and you have to keep pushing. If you're really passionate
Yeah.
about this business or whatever it is that you're selling, continue with it. Just imagine if all the companies that you know offhand, that little babies can say, if they stopped doing what they were doing based on, someone wasn't buying or someone wasn't doing
Mhm.
this, there would be a lot of businesses that have folded. And with
Yeah.
now the information age and things that you could do online, you have to keep pushing. There's so much distraction out there. You have to continue to move forward, because if
Yeah.
you are passionate about it, and like you're very passionate about your business, and your business solves a problem for not every parent, but some parents, that recognize
Yeah.
that eating
Mhm.
healthy or eating the right foods is the way to go. There are some that, for whatever reason, they're not there yet. And when they are, like you said, they'll be calling you and asking you
Yes.
for your advice. And that's fine. Everyone has their own timing, but that's really good information that you shared. Great information. So one more time,
Thank
tell the
you.
listeners about where they can find you.
Again, you all can find me at the Excellent Breakfast Company. So on Instagram and Facebook. Well, actually, on Instagram, let's start with that.
Mhm.
My Instagram handle is Excellent Breakfast Co. So it's EGGCELLENT. Spell out the word breakfast and co. CO. Excellent Breakfast Co. That's how you can find me on Instagram, or you can always just hashtag Breakfast Mom,
Mhm.
and all of my posts will come up, and then it'll link you back to my the Excellent Breakfast Company's page.
Mhm.
On Facebook, you can either look up my name, Loina Rogers, with a D, Rogers with a D, and or you can look up the business name. You'll find it there. Same handle on Facebook, Excellent Breakfast Co. And my website is excellentcompany.com.
Mm.
I'm on Periscope, and I'm on LinkedIn. What was the other one I said?
Oh, Twitter,
Instagram.
Twitter.
Yes, I'm on Twitter as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, so any of the information. I mean, if you hashtag Breakfast Mom,
You'll find
you will be able to definitely link to me, and through my business page, through my website, or my name.
Yeah.
You can always find me there. Loina Rogers.
Awesome. What are some parting words that you want to share with us about maybe your company, or who you are as a businesswoman, or how you are just tackling this world of health? That's what I see you doing. So go ahead.
So, parting words I would, say to moms is, you know, um, my primary objective and my goal, breakfast goals, is always to just get parents to understand, and it does take a while, because it took me a while to understand, that giving your child certain foods is actually harming their body and not actually helping their body. And when we want to make a change in what they desire, we actually have to make a change in what we're putting inside of their body. And
Mm.
so it's not as difficult. It was funny. I read a quote that people would rather do their taxes than to figure out nutrition. That's
Mm,
how people think of nutrition. They would rather do their taxes. And I'm not a numbers guru.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't like doing my taxes. Yeah, I have an accountant that does that. Uh-oh, Wesley, the phone's ringing. So it's always, I think he's gonna get it. So it's always that for me, I believe parents should, think about the fact that there is a food out there. Food is medicine, number one. Number two, we can heal our child's body with food.
Mm,
Um, and it is a source of, it can be a source of medicine, or it can
mm,
be a source of poison.
mm,
And so we should choose wisely.
yeah.
And then lastly, is my thing I always stick with. Try to get your child off of sugar,
Mm-hmm.
and try to not use vegetable oils. Those two things, they ruin our child's brain cells, not just child, but also ours.
Ours, yeah.
It ruins the brain cells, that the new brain cells that are being developed, as
Mm,
well as it clogs the arteries.
mm,
Um, I really, really try to I teach parents how to read nutrition labels and how to identify the code words. It's called health washing. How to
mm,
identify the words when you're buying certain foods, to know what you're buying is
mhm,
actually a health food. And so when you partner with me, or, come into a consultation with me, this is the kind of information I'm going to equip you with, so that
mm,
you can make a different decision. And all of this translates over into how the child behaves in the classroom. The
yeah.
teacher will notice a difference in your child. Their brain cells will do something totally different when you are actually feeding them food that the brain needs.
Mm,
Our brains are made up over 60% of fat.
mm,
However, there's a bad fat and there's a good fat,
right.
right? So if you're not putting in the right foods, then yes, we are wreaking havoc on the brain. You're having the meltdowns, you're having the temper tantrums,
Mm,
you're having the runny noses, we're having the ear infections, we're
yeah.
having the sinus infections, the mucus buildup, the inflammation in the body. So all of these things can be healed by what we feed our child. If you want to see a difference in the way your child behaves in the classroom, which is what I support, what I teach you how to strengthen through the breakfast table, um, yes, food is medicine, and I can teach you how to do that.
That's awesome.
That's
That's
it.
awesome. Now, one other question I have when I just thought about this is how many, is it a specific amount of sessions, or is everyone treated as an individual, or it's program, it's a program, or is it both? Your constant, your
Um,
company.
well, I have both. Usually, parents who have that immediate need, like their child just will not stop eating, they can't get their child to eat anything healthy. Usually, they come in for the one on one consultation.
Mm-hmm.
And then after they do the one on one consultation, I have a 60 or 90-minute consultation. After they do that, if they need additional support after that, I do have a month to month
Mm-hmm.
subscription where they can do for $39 a month.
Okay.
And that works because I know they've already had the basic, they've got the foundation, they've got the chunk, right? So they've already started their child in terms of replenishing all of the nutritional deficiencies. We
Mm-hmm.
already have that part in place. Whereas in a classroom setting, I'm focusing on one specific topic, one specific element. For example, around Halloween time, I do my sugar detox course for
Yeah.
kids. And
Yeah.
so I teach you how to, detox the sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like a 7-day detox boot camp. It's a 5-week course. And I teach you how to different foods that you can feed the body, that you put into the body, that will naturally cause the liver and the kidneys and the gallbladder to naturally do its job. That's one thing I'm very, very big on is,
Mm-hmm.
if we nourish the organs with the correct nutrients that it needs, it will do what it's supposed to do. The body is made to heal itself. It's quite a forgiving specimen. I mean, it's very forgiving. If you give it what it needs, it will do its job.
Wow. That's awesome. I can just talk to you for hours and hours. I know you don't have the time, but this has been so good and so eye-opening to me. And I'm sure it's going to be eye-opening to our listeners. And I'm sure they're going to be searching you out on the internet to find out more information about you. I appreciate you taking this time out in your schedule to talk with the listeners of Inspiring to Action about your business. And I know that some of the things, if not all the things that you said, is going to make a big difference in the lives of your children, in their lives. And the thing is, you take action right now on your health, you won't have to pay in the long run. You take the steps now, you won't have to pay later. So let's take the steps now. Let's take action on our health. Let's take action on our children's health so we can form some better habits in their life, and we can be the people that we need to be for our society, and to be able to think, because it's so important. It's so important.
Yes, it is. That's right.
Thank you again.
Right.
Thank you. Have a good one. All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel.